Hallo und herzlich willkommen. Bla bla bla, ist das Tongut? Ist das Tongut? Und du bist sowieso die Beste, das weißt du doch. Wieso hörst du dich nicht? Ah, weil ich wieder Scheiße gebaut habe mit dem Ton. So, wie sieht's jetzt aus? Hörst du dich jetzt?
Mal sehen. Ja, ich höre mich. Nur Spiel höre ich noch nicht. Ich glaube, das läuft noch nicht.
Das könnte zusammenhängen. Und?
Ja, ich höre alles. Im Verhältnis geht der Ton auch. Ich wollte gerade sagen, lad's lieber, anstatt es zu löschen. Wir waren ja jetzt bei unserem vierten Fall. Worum ging es nochmal?
Ähm, Irgend so ein Typ wurde umgebracht und seine Olle wollte, dass wir den Fall lösen, weil die echte Polizei einfach nur sagt, wir sind zu gut für solche Scheiße.
Ich habe gerade den Streamtitel gesehen. Können wir unsere Ehe ruinieren? Ich dachte, das haben wir schon getan. Ich möchte an der Stelle erwähnen, dass unsere Frau uns rausgeworfen hat. Vor einer Woche. Und wir sind bei unserer Kollegin eingezogen. Und es sieht ganz stark so aus, als würden wir bald eine Affäre anfangen.
Ja, aber richtig ruiniert ist die Ehe erst, wenn Upton uns rauswirft, weil wir nicht mit ihr schlafen. Wie hieß unsere Frau noch?
Eddie.
Wie bitte?
Ich weiß nicht, wie die voll heißt, aber die hat dieses Kosenamen Eddie.
Eddie?
A-D-D-Y.
Ach ja, Eddie. Adeline, glaube ich. Und Adeline uns aus dem Gebäude kommen sieht, weiß, dass Upton dort wohnt und sich dann denkt, wow, ich hab dich für eine Woche rausgeworfen und du gehst schon woanders zum Vögeln hin. Du Stück Scheiße. Und uns dann auf der Straße nochmal so richtig schön den Arsch aufreißt.
To think, in an instant, a man's life can be reduced to some scribbles on the filthy pavement.
Now's not the time to get poetic, Bill.
It's an ad for whiskey. Or, perhaps, paint thinner. Sometimes it can be hard to tell the difference.
Na dann, Prost. Okay, da wollte ich jetzt nicht unbedingt hin.
These advertisements are all at least 10 years out of date. Your mascot seems to be a raven with a glowing red eye. Is that meant to attract customers or to scare them off? Your mascot seems to be a raven. I suppose you could do worse, as far as bar names go.
Dann schauen wir uns das doch mal an.
My, this grog shop looks pretty rough, even by chum standards. Best keep a low profile while you're in here, Miles. Doesn't look like cleaning up is high on the list of priorities around here. They don't seem to have much variety in their beer selection.
Excuse me, barmaid?
Hi, what do you need?
You know a man named Ronan Lespay?
Nah, never heard of him.
He was killed here 4 nights ago. The man in this ferrotype.
Oh, that one. Well, I never saw him before that night, and I didn't talk to him. You with the police or something?
No, not at all. I'm just trying to help his sister find out what happened.
So are you done with the questions? Can I get you a drink or what?
Yeah, she's a shrewd businesswoman. You at least have to give her that.
Were you working on election night?
Pal, I'm here most every night.
So that's a yes, then?
Christ on a cracker, you ain't too bright, are you? Yes, I was here on election night.
There's no need to be rude about it, madam. Tell me what you know about the murder that took place outside on election night.
Listen, chum, do you know how busy we were that night? This was a polling place. We had gents coming in and out for hours, not to mention the regular clientele. I was up to my ass in drink orders and was running the shift all by myself. Had to break up God knows how many fights, too. So you'll excuse me if I didn't exactly notice something that happened out on the street.
Did you at least hear the gunshot?
No, I didn't. You try distinguishing a gunshot over a room full of rowdy voters. It ain't gonna happen.
What can you tell me about this place?
It's a bar. People come here to drink. Sometimes people drink too much, and then they're sick all over. I get the honor of cleaning up the mess.
Sounds like you're not too pleased with your job.
I never said that. There may be rough days, but there's a lot worse I could be doing. Here, I get a place to sleep and a bit to eat and a few coins in my pocket if the customers are pleased. And you are pleased, ain't you, sir?
Oh, yes. Yes, of course I am.
Good.
Die klingt wie die Art von Person, die sagt, was, Sie sind nicht zufrieden? Gut, dann werde ich Sie so lange verprügeln, bis Sie zufrieden sind.
You mentioned regular clientele. Who are they?
Oh, we get plenty of regulars in here, too many to name.
Which of them were here on election night?
Let me think. I remember seeing 3 of the usual crowd. There was Darius, up to no good as always. Then there was Singin' Tom, but he wasn't around for too long. And how could I forget old Cormac? He'd have talked my ear off if I'd let him.
Sound like an interesting bunch of folks.
Where might I find the landlord?
You won't find him anywhere. He doesn't come around here more than once a month.
What can you tell me about Darius?
Hey now, bucko. You've come in here asking me all these questions, but I ain't seen nothing from you. You want more information? You're gonna have to earn it.
Right. Give me a gin, then.
Coming right up.
Don't get carried away now, Miles.
There you are. 1 gin. That'll be 2 shillings.
There's 3. Now then, about Darius.
Now that man is trouble. I've had to throw him out a few times.
Why do you say he's trouble?
His mind's affected by the poppy seed. He can be gentle as a kitten or fly into a rage at a moment's notice. When he gets rowdy, he gets chucked.
I see. Any idea where I might be able to find him?
Don't know why you'd want to find him, but I hear he spends his day at a smokehouse nearby. I believe it's on Crisparkle Lane. Just look for the door with the oriental symbols above it.
And could you describe him to me?
He's a rough-looking sort, about 55 years old, has a scar on his left cheek, grayish hair, medium build.
Excellent. Thank you. Who is Singing Tom?
Ah, Tom. Not sure what his surname is, but he's in here about twice a week. We call him Singin' Tom because he leads a church choir.
Is that right? Which church?
Oh, I haven't a clue. Never really cared to ask.
Does he associate with any of the other regulars?
I've seen him talking with Darius a few times. They seem to be on friendly terms.
Tell me about Cormac.
He's in here most every night. Doesn't speak to many people, just me. And a right chatterbox he is, too. Between you and me, Cormac stinks. I can understand why he doesn't keep much company.
He stinks?
Aye, he's a sewer worker. Spends all his day underground in the muck, so he always reeks of shit.
I see. Any idea where specifically he works?
I believe he's at the treatment station, over near the ferry terminal.
If this is going where I think it is, then I'm especially glad I can't smell anything anymore.
Have you worked here long?
13 years.
I see. Anything else you can tell me about yourself?
I ain't the friendly type.
Right. Understood. Any thoughts on the election?
Nah, couldn't care less, really. Doesn't matter who's in charge. My life ain't getting any better.
But it can certainly get worse with Leroy in office.
We'll see.
I appreciate you taking the time to chat.
Yeah.
I can't make heads or tails of it, but I'll bet you 10 crowns it doesn't say welcome. Crisparkle Lane. Nothing crisp or sparkly about it. I wonder how many layers of advertisements you'd have to cut through before getting to the wall.
Yes? What do you want?
I'm looking for a man named Darius. I believe he may be inside.
Yeah, I don't know anybody with that name. So if that's all you wanted, get lost.
Might I come in, please?
This is private property, and I don't know you, so no.
Nothing. Never mind.
Stop wasting my time.
Es sagt ja genau die richtige Person.
So this is what it's come to, eh? Braving the stench of human waste in hopes of finding a lead? Just make sure you stay away from the edge. Handy to know where you are, but why would anyone actually travel around the city this way? Some sort of water treatment device would be my guess. For all I know, it could just be a fancy boiler for tea. Another mysterious machine. Who knew dealing with human waste involved so much technology? I hope those aren't full of what I think. Another mysterious...
Begging your pardon, sir.
What? Who are you? What are you doing down here?
My name's Miles Fordham, and I'm a private investigator. I'm looking for a sewer worker by the name of Cormac.
We needn't look no further. But what is this about?
I just have a few questions for you.
All right. Cormac will answer them, but don't dally for too long. It can be dangerous down here for anyone who's not trained as Cormac is.
You know a man named Ronan Lespay?
Cormac knows few men. People don't much like talking to a man who spends his days in the sewers. Can't really blame him for it. It's hard to get a stink off, so why bother even trying?
You didn't answer my question, though. Do you know Ronan Lespay or not?
Could you describe him? Cormac's got a better memory for faces than for names.
I have his portrait. Here, have a look.
Ah, yes. Cormac saw this fellow recently.
On election night?
That's right. He come into the bar, voted, went out. Looked drunk to Cormac, but then everyone at that place usually is.
Do you frequent a pub called the Silent Raven?
Yes. The Raven is where Cormac goes to forget about the day's work. The barmaid, Nicole, she's a good sort. We likes talking about the ponies down at the track. Nicky loves her some racing. She gives Cormac drinks for cheap in exchange for odd jobs. Nice to have your own personal sewer man, I suppose. She's really the only one Cormac talks to. There's a few others Cormac sees often, but Cormac hasn't spoken with them.
Cripes. This guy goes on and on, doesn't he? To be fair, you were warned.
Do you know anything about the murder that took place outside the Silent Raven on election night?
Murder? Ah, yes. The commotion out in the alleyway.
That's right. Did you see or hear anything?
It was a touch noisy that night, what with all the election stuff happening, but Cormac remembers the sound of the gun. One shot, and then shouting and hollering from the bar. A few people run outside to look at what happened. but Cormac just stayed in his seat and finished his whiskey.
So you didn't see the man who was shot, or who shot him?
No, keeps to himself, Cormac does. Makes life easier that way.
Could he be any more unhelpful? Actually, it's probably best not to find out.
Do you have any opinions regarding the election?
Cormac hears lots of things about Atwood, but he's the one what's got this new machinery put into the sewer system. There's still a job for Cormac, so all that talk about being replaced by machines is just talk, for now. But Leroy says he wants to give the workers their fair chance, so Cormac can't argue with that. What about you?
I would have preferred Atwood stay in office myself.
Bah, they's all the same in the end. One way or another. No point worrying, says old Cormac.
Is it difficult being a sewer worker?
Difficult? Nah, it's a dream. Especially since they introduced all these steam tech treatments and purification whatsits. The only thing Cormac's got to do is check the little dial never goes into the red on old Belinda.
Belinda?
Aye, the purifier. She's a real special lady who's made Cormac's life so much brighter. Cormac makes sure to thank her each and every day.
Wonderful. We're talking to a lunatic.
Wasn't so easy a few years ago. Back then it was tapping on pipes all day.
Tapping on pipes?
To make sure they was flowing fine and not blocked. Cormac would take his little hammer and tap, tap, tap on the pipes to make sure they was ringing fine. You can imagine what that was like. Tap, tap, tap. Ring, ring, ring. All day, up and down, over and over. The tapping stopped, but the ringing never left. Still hears it to this day, Cormac does.
I'll let you return to your work.
Be mindful on your way out.
All right, Mr. Chavez. The cake and muffins come to a total of 6 crowns, 10 shillings.
There you are, Mrs. Morgan. And thank you again. Barbara is going to love this.
My pleasure. Enjoy.
Pardon me, sir.
I'm sure Barbara will enjoy them, the cow. Ah, Mr. Fordham.
What?
Welcome.
Thank you, Mrs. Morgan.
Warte. Vergiftet sie den Kuchen?
Those look nice, but given the choice, I'll always side with pie over cake. A bunch of assorted baking products. Don't waste your time with those, Miles. We've got a murder to solve. A very wise man once told me, never go poking around the back rooms of bakeries. I think you'd do well to heed that advice. Well, I never had much of a sweet tooth, but even I'd consider buying some of this stuff. You know, if I were still alive. Minor detail, I know. The stuff in that day-old box doesn't look half bad. More like 3/4 bad.
You got time for a few more questions, Mrs. Morgan?
Yes, of course.
What can you tell me about your brother?
Ronan was the best brother anyone could have asked for. He took care of me after our parents died. Carriage accident. I was only 9 and he was 13. Ronan went out and found work and managed to support the both of us. He was just a child himself, but he kept us out of the gutter. Or worse, the workhouse.
How did you hear of his death?
Ronan comes by to visit me every day after he finishes work. When he didn't come for 2 days in a row, I got worried. I went to his apartment, but he wasn't there. So I made a report to the police. Yesterday, they contacted me and asked me to come to the mortuary.
I'm terribly sorry for your loss, Mrs. Morgan.
Thank you, Mr. Fordham. Please, find whoever did this to him. Ronan deserved so much better.
What do you know about your brother's murder?
Only what the police told me. He was shot at close range outside that pub in the Chum. Nothing was missing, and his wallet had money in it, so they said it wasn't a robbery. I didn't recognize the clothes he was wearing. I had never seen them before, and they were far too big for him. I still can't believe he's gone. He was the only family I had left.
Dr. Edwards at the mortuary might be able to give us some more detailed information. The only thing we'll get out of this one is more tears.
What sort of life did Ronan lead?
You know, just normal. He'd go to work, come visit me afterwards, and go home. He didn't have much of a social life. At least he never mentioned any friends to me. I always hoped Ronan would meet a nice girl to settle down with, but he was so shy, you know.
Where did Ronan work?
At the Grips Home Taxidermy Shop in Gascon. I always thought it was rather macabre work, but he enjoyed it. Bit lonely, though.
Can you give me the address of Ronan's apartment?
It's at 1172 Bushmill Street. I have a spare key.
That would be most helpful. Thank you. So, this is your bakery.
My husband Gerald and I have had it for almost 10 years.
Is it just the two of you? Do you have any children?
Alas, no. Some extra hands would be most welcome in the kitchen, but we haven't yet been blessed. It's such a shame that Ronan never got to be an uncle.
What are your thoughts on the outcome of the election?
Oh, I haven't given it much thought, to be honest. It hardly seems to matter now.
Yes, of course. My apologies for bringing it up. Those are all the questions I have for now.
All right, Mr. Fordham.
I was beginning to wonder when you'd show up.
Well, wonder no longer. I'm here and I need to see Dr. Edwards.
Oh, I see how it is. He helped you solve a case, and now you don't have time for us lowly front desk clerks.
That's just the way it goes, Upton. Maybe next time you should pick a nicer coffee house.
Right. You know the way. Snelling isn't in today, so you're all clear.
Well, that's a relief. Thanks, Upton. I hope I'm not interrupting anything, Edwards.
Ah, Fordham. Always a pleasure.
Have you got time for some questions?
Of course.
So what can you tell me about Ronan Lespay?
Caucasian male, approximately 27 years old. Died of blood loss as a result of being shot at close range. He was brought in 4 nights ago. I performed the post-mortem the following day. After that, his next of kin was contacted. I believe his sister came to identify the body.
Any personal opinions on what might have happened?
Well, the fact he was shot at such a close range would suggest it was done by someone he knew. And robbery doesn't appear to be a motive, since his wallet was found on the body with money in it. Beyond that, your guess is as good as mine.
Better, I hope.
Did the post-mortem reveal anything?
Quite a few things, actually. Mr. Lespay was extremely inebriated when the shooting took place. There was enough alcohol in his blood to presume he had been drinking for hours before his death. I also managed to remove the bullet from his heart. It's a .36 caliber lead ball, standard revolver shot. It shouldn't be too hard to match to a weapon, provided you can find it.
Did you notice anything unusual about the clothes Mr. Lespay was wearing?
Unusual? Not really. They seemed a bit big for him, but that's all.
His sister seemed convinced that they didn't belong to him.
That's a distinct possibility, but I couldn't say for sure. He could have just been a sloppy dresser.
So no murder weapon's been found?
That's right. Either the killer still has it, or the police just overlooked it. If you happen across any weapons in your investigation, be sure to bring them to me. I can tell you if it matches the bullet.
Thank you, Edwards. I'll be on the lookout. How's the coroner business?
Things have been pretty dead around here lately.
Don't quit your day job, Edwards. What are your thoughts on the election?
There was an election?
I think our friend Edwards needs to get out a bit more.
I'll be going now, Edwards.
Take care, Fordham. And remember, not everyone gets to leave the morgue alive, so consider yourself lucky that you can.
Das klingt ja schon fast wie eine halbe Drohung.
Can we talk for a moment, Upton?
Certainly. What's on your mind?
Would you happen to have any information on the opium den in Chumley?
I know there is one, but that's about it. The department doesn't have the manpower to bother keeping files on that sort of establishment.
So no idea how one might get inside.
I'm afraid not. Those places are very hush-hush about their activities. They're almost like exclusive high society clubs in their own seedy way.
Interesting observation. I think I'll keep that in mind. You wouldn't happen to know anything about Ronan Le Spay, would you?
Probably nothing more than you already know. His body is in the mortuary, and the reason for his murder is unknown. I suggest you speak with Dr. Edwards.
How are things with you?
Better than last week, but plenty of feathers still ruffled around here.
What happened?
You have to ask. Snelling was not happy with you turning up at the Latham crime scene. It was a right inquisition around here. Snelling going around to interrogate everyone, trying to ferret out a leak.
So he suspects.
I'm afraid so. I managed to calm him down some and divert suspicion. He thinks someone on the force is speaking to the Gazette, not to you directly.
Well, that's some kind of relief. I'm sorry you had to go through that.
Oh, don't worry about me. Well, maybe worry about me a little.
That was one hell of an election, wasn't it?
That it was. I don't know how he managed it, but I'm glad Leroy won.
I can't say I agree, but I'm not really surprised. Leroy may have started as something of a dark horse, but his campaign had been gaining a lot of steam leading up to the election. Pun not intended.
Yes, well, it's the Steam Tech issue that clinched it. When something like the Ligeia happens, people start to wake up and wonder if we really want contraptions like that in our lives.
You have to admit, he was playing up on people's fears. Not exactly the most honorable way of getting into office.
Fordham, since when have politics ever been honorable?
True.
I'll let you get back to work.
And you'd better do the same.
Quite the collection of exotic items in here. Ronan appears to be a seasoned world traveler.
Or at least knows someone who is.
Just looking at this painting is making me feel seasick. This mask looks African. You should try it on. It'd be an improvement. Some kind of owl mask. The hair looks incredibly familiar. This one is scarier than the other masks. Wait a moment. I think I saw something shiny in the back of the mouth.
How about that? A perfect hiding place for a key.
I had an illustration that looked similar to that one. I wonder where it ended up. I guess Ronan won't be realizing his world travel dreams now. Death really has a way of messing up your plans. Ronan wasn't too concerned with comfort, apparently. This is hardly bigger than a
immer noch,
bunk at sea.
Dass der Geist in unserem Kopf ist.
Möglich.
Ronan's book collection mostly consists of cheap pulp adventure novels, but this top shelf looks interesting.
Oh well, oh well, oh well. Ein ausgewachsenes Spitzmaulnashorn erreicht eine Schulterhöhe zwischen 150 und 175 cm und eine Kopfrumpflänge von 350 bis 390 cm. Ausgewachsen wiegt ein Bulle zwischen 850 und 600 Kilogramm. Gelegentlich werden bei manchen Tieren aber auch bis zu 1800 Kilogramm erreicht. Kühe sind kleiner als die Bullen. Ein afrikanischer Elefantenbulle wird 3,2 bis 4 Meter hoch, Schulterhöhe, und wiegt zwischen 4700 und 6048 Kilogramm. Was für eine Zahl! Kühe werden zwischen 2,2 und 2,6 Meter groß und wiegen zwischen 1260 und 1232 Kilogramm. Huh. Känguru. Das Känguru ist eine wunderbare Kreuzung aus Hase und Esel und verfügt als Beuteltier über einen Beutel, den Nachwuchs zu reifen. Das Känguru ist ein Pflanzenfresser und reißt mit kräftiger Sprünge seiner Hinterläufe. Und es kann dich töten mit einem Tritt. Koalas mögen auf den ersten Blick wie kleine Bären erscheinen, sind aber tatsächlich Beuteltiere. Wie beim Känguru verbringen Jungtiere ihre ersten Lebensjahre im Beutel ihrer Mutter. Koalas verbringen viele Stunden am Tag im Schlaf und ernähren sich hauptsächlich von den Blättern des Eukalyptusbaums, die übrigens für die meisten anderen Spezies giftig sind.
It's in another language, but it appears to be a Bible. No title, and it appears to be blank. I wonder if Ronan just kept empty books on his shelf to appear well read.
Sie müssen sich immer vor Augen halten, geneigter Leser, dass die Gebräuche des Fernen Ostens sich von unseren eigenen stark unterscheiden. Ich empfehle dringend, sich nicht nur mit dem Gebräuchlichsten, sondern auch mit den Unbekannteren und Verborgeneren auszusetzen, um nicht aus Versehen jemanden zu verärgern. Die Verwendung von Opium. Zur Jahrhundertwende war es bei Reisenden in den fernen Osten üblich, sich den ausgefalleneren Freuden hinzugeben, mit anderen Worten dem Opium. Heutzutage ist diese Art des Tourismus stark zurückgegangen, unter anderem aufgrund der Zuwanderung von den Migranten aus China nach Vespuccia. Etliche Opiumhöhlen sind in der Zwischenzeit in El Presidio aufgetaucht, manche gar in New Bretagne im Osten. Opiumhöhlen stehlen in all denjenigen offen, die dem Opium frönen wollen. Im Allgemeinen als den Drachenreiten bezeichnet, wurde die Opiumverwendung zur Entspannung oder als Gruppenbeschäftigung zum beliebten Zeitvertreib. Bayou. Wird Ihnen Wein angeboten, stellen Sie sicher, dass Sie genau wissen, was Ihnen angeboten wurde. Es könnte sich um Baijiu handeln, eine klare Flüssigkeit, die meist aus fermentierter Sorghumhirse gebrannt wird, wobei manchmal auch andere Getreidesorten Verwendung finden. In Varianten aus dem südlichen China wird oftmals Klebreis verwendet, wohingegen die nördlichen Varianten Weizen, Gerste, Rispenhirse und sogar Hiobsträne anstelle von Sorghumhirse aufweisen. Die Jiku-Starterkultur zur Fermentierung, die zur Herstellung von Baijiu-Maische verwendet wird, besteht meist aus pulverisierten Weizenkörnern. Jemand, der daran nicht gewöhnt ist, wird, wenn er Baijiu trinkt, sein blaues Wunder erleben. Baijiu zu trinken gilt gleichsam als Männlichkeitsritual, das verwendet wird, um sich vor anderen zu beweisen. Die übermäßige Alkoholkonzentration des Baijiu überfordert die meisten, die daran nicht gewohnt sind. Seien Sie auf der Hut, wenn Sie nicht bewusstlos in einer Seitenstraße enden wollen. Ah.
Ronan wasn't too concerned with...
Das ist alles das Bett. Okay.
Now to find out what Mr. Lespay finds so precious. Ooh, this teacup could use a washing. I'd be surprised if it isn't permanently stuck to the desk. A model of the SS Joondalup. Looks like a merchant vessel to me. This one appears to be from Emily.
Ronan, Gerard und ich werden ins neue Jahr hineinfeiern und würden dich gerne dazu einladen, mitzufeiern. Du kannst gerne auch jemanden mitbringen, vor allem natürlich auch eine Freundin, so du eine hast. Alles Liebe, Emily. Was?
They appear to be a pair of letters from Ronan's landlord.
Ronan, mit bezüglich Ihrer Anfrage, die Bezahlung Ihrer Miete für diesen Monat zu stunden, möchte ich Ihnen mitteilen, dass ich damit einverstanden bin. Ich gebe Ihnen Zeit bis zum nächsten Monat. Sie waren immer ein zuverlässiger Mieter und haben pünktlich gezahlt. Machen Sie sich keine Sorgen, ich hoffe, dass Sie Ihr Problem bald lösen können. Danford. Und bei mir hat es gerade geklingelt, ich bin gleich wieder da. Jo, das waren meine Nachbarn.
Oh.
Die haben 2 Pakete für mich angenommen.
Oh, das ist ja nett.
Ja. Unter anderem 5 Kilo Ethanol technisch rein.
Okay.
Ja, Desinfektionsmittel, Sterilium.
Achso.
Ich verstehe, dass wir alle durch finanzielle Schwierigkeiten kommen, aber muss leider sagen, dass ich meine Wohltätigkeit nicht über 2 Monate hinaus verlängern kann. Bitte haben Sie die Miete bis dahin, oder ich habe leider keine andere Möglichkeit, als rechtlich gegen Sie vorzugehen. Danford. Well, shit.
Looks like you found Ronan's journal. Perhaps this will be able to give us some more insight into what he was up to before he died.
Let's see. February 24th, 1844. Jimbo has been at sea for nearly 2 months. These long periods away are the most difficult, but all the time seems to disappear when I see him again. My solace is that he will return with plenty of tales of adventure. I can hardly wait to hear them. October 21st, 1843. The air is growing cold and is reminding me that I need to purchase a new pair of boots for the winter. I don't think this entry will be of much interest. October 21st, 1840. I don't.
Aha! A letter from someone called Jimbo?
Ronan, nächste Woche ist es 2 Jahre her, dass wir uns kennengelernt haben. Und ich kann ehrlich behaupten, dass sich mein Leben seither in jeder Beziehung zum Besseren gewendet hat und ich werde den 8. Juli immer als besonderen Tag in meinem Herzen tragen. Ich kann es nicht erwarten, dich wiederzusehen. Jimbo.
It's empty. Too bad.